Hello everyone. So welcome to the class 1 of this Python course where we are actually going to begin our Python journey. Before this video it was just an introduction about oops and other things. Now we are actually getting our hands dirty. So I hope you are excited. Now we will start our everything with data structures, right? So first let us discuss what is a data structure. uh, I am assuming most of you are coming from with having some SQL background. So whenever we hear data, we understand, okay, a data is a 2D array where we have some rows and some columns. So we have something like this. Okay, so we have rows and we have some columns. So by data we generally we associate with this, because this is something that we see in Excel, this is something that we see in SQL, this is something that we see anywhere else. But this is not the only, so this is not the only, this is just called a relational data, right? Where we have some relation between tables, right? But this is not everything. This comprises only 20 to 25% of the data that is present on internet. Most of the data is unstructured, I would say, unstructured, or they are not in a tabular format like this. So here we are beginning. So if we see data structure which are present, which Python can handle, so there are two type of data structure. One is inbuilt data structure, and second is user defined data structure. The good thing for us is that as data scientist or data analyst or data engineer, we don't need to bother much about this section, because these are specially used for maybe when you are applying for software developer roles. Those kind of roles you need this. For us, these four data structures matter a lot. List, so I'll write them down. List, and the first is list, second is tuples, third is dictionary, and fourth is set. We will dedicate a time to each of them individually to basically make you understand what is a list, what is a tuple, what is a dictionary, and how things operations are performed. Because we know that if we have a table like this, we will do something like select star from table name, right? And we can select star from table, and we can access the table elements. This is done in SQL, but here things are little different. So this is the first class. We will start our discussion with lists. Okay, so let's start our discussion about list. So list is, let me tell you, it is a class. So just like we discussed, list is a class. Okay, and when we create individual lists, they are called objects. As we discussed, what is class, object, and all that. Okay, so what is list? List is nothing. It is just I would say an odd a structured format, for example, of a few numbers where order matters. For example, let's say x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a list of positive integers, or list of numbers from 1 to 4. Or let us say I create x is equal to a, b, c. So this is a list of maybe characters, right? Similarly, you can create lists, list inside list. So there is lot we will discuss. We have whole thing ready for you in this Python workbook. So just let me walk you through what are we going to discuss in this session. First of all, we are going to discuss how to create a list. How do we create a list? Okay. Or after that, how do we add elements to a list? And or how do we remove things from a list? And then we will talk about how are we going to modify, or after that we'll discuss about some of the operations that are allowed in list. And after that we will talk about the most important part, that is list comprehension, which is very important, extensively used in any ML or data engineering code. List comprehension is used very heavily, right? So we will understand these concepts with examples of I have kept some examples for you guys as well. So let's switch into the Python workbook. So let's talk about this Python workbook at first, that we have created the whole setup for you. So whatever topic we are going to discuss, we have put proper comments, proper headings, right? So that even after the workshop is over, we will share this file with you. You can go through them and practice things on our own. Okay, so now let's start with the Python lists. Now we have explained, put this in a form of a murder mystery. So I'll explain you that what it is exactly. Now if we just look at the definition, a list is a collection of items in a particular order, and lists are mutable. So basically what it means, that what we mean by list are mutable. So let's say there is a list x is equal to 1 2 3. Okay, now let's say I want to change this element. I want to replace 2 with 4. Okay, I can do that in list. So there is an operation if I perform, I can modify this to 1 4 3. Whereas there are some data structure where this modification is not allowed. For example, there is tuples. Here if it is 1 2 3, you cannot do x is equal to 1 4 3. In that case you will have to create a new tuple, y is equal to 1 4 3. So that is the difference. When we say mutable means it can be changed, and unmutable it means it cannot be changed. This is a very important thing. It is asked a lot of times in interviews. People forget that, okay, which of the Python data structures are mutable. So you should know that lists are mutable, tuples are not mutable. So we will talk about tuples in the next video, but just for understanding you should know this. Okay, now let's come back to this this workbook. Okay, so after this we see that they can be changed. A list allows you to store sets in one variable, as we saw that. And okay, now coming, things are ordered here. So as we say that lists have a defined order, so you cannot change the order. As I mentioned, they are changeable, that I just spoke, mutable. They allow duplicates. You can have duplicates in a list. So that's not a problem. You can create as many duplicates as possible in a Python list, and they are indexed. So index means slicing. Just to before we move ahead, right, I would like to just tell you, in Python, strings or maybe lists are indexed from 0 to 1. So for example, let's say there is a list 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, in Python numbering is done from 0 to n minus 1. So if we see this list has 5 elements, right? So the index position of this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. So so if I want to know what is at position, which element is at position 3, so what I will do x and I will write down 2 instead of writing 3. So when I do this, I will get the result as 3. So remember this, in Python numbering starts from 0, not 1. This is a very important concept because people who are starting new to the Python, they should know this. In Python numbering starts from 0. Okay, so now let's begin begin work. Now the concept is that in the peaceful town of Shivpur, a murder has taken place and Mr. Sharma, a well-known businessman, has been found dead. Okay, so there is someone who has Mr. Sharma, he has been found dead in his right, so he has been found dead. Okay, now if we see the town is in shock and the police calls in the famous detective Inspector Rajesh to solve this case. So there is a famous Inspector Rajesh. Now we will understand all the list properties in this using this case study. Okay, so Mr. Rajesh will be solving this case. So let's talk with Mr. Rajesh. Let's see what he has to say. So Inspector Rajesh says that first of all, we have to be methodical about this. Let's start by creating our initial suspect. Okay, that is creating. How do we create a list? Okay, so if you see that Inspector Rajesh creates another list. Okay, that we'll talk about. So a list of initial suspect in the murder mystery. So how a list is created, as I just spoke, you just give it a name. So for example, as we know that list is a class, so you have to create an object. You have to create an object of list. For example, let's say here the name is like what we are providing 4 people here. So suspects, and then we print their name. So if you see that there are suspects Arav, Priya, Rohan, Sneha. So lists are, of course, they are in this square brackets, and you just need to provide the names in this inverted quotes, and you just print. This is a string. You can ignore this part for right now. Even if you ignore this, you can just print the list. So if I see here now, if I have to print the suspects, and if I run this code, I will see all the elements of the list. So this is how a list is created. Now let me create a new Python workbook. Let me show you. If, for example, let's say I have to create a list of 1, 2, 3. So what I will do x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this is how list is created. And to call it, I just need to do print x, and if I do print x, it will print all my list numbers. Okay, so this is how my list is created. Now let's move ahead. So now they're creating another list. It is evidence. So first list is of suspects, second list is of evidence. So for evidence, we have fingerprint, we have blood sample, we have CCTV footage, witness statement, right? So similarly, they have created this list, and they have we can ignore this part, it's fine if you don't understand. So just print that list, you will get the list of evidence. Okay, so what do we have right now? We have a list of suspects and we have a list of evidence. Now let's move ahead, that how do we access or modify the list. Now Inspector Rajesh says that let's examine the evidence and decide whom to question first. Okay, so let me tell you that in a list, suppose you want to fetch the second element in the list. As I just spoke here, lists are indexed from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you want the third element in the list, or let's say you want the fourth element in the list, so the syntax is that you write that this object name, for example x, and this is called slicing, and you write a square bracket, and after that you provide the index name. So let us say if I want fifth number, so how it will be done? Fifth lies at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll write down as 4. If I want the first element, I'll write down x0. Okay, so this is how you fetch the element in a list. So for example, in this list, if I see, let's say I have to fetch the value 3. So what I will do, x2. Okay, and I just need to run this code, and I will get element 3. Let's say I run x0, so I will get 1. Okay, now let's move back to our code. So what we have done here, let's see. So he wants that first suspect. Who is the first suspect? The person who is lying in this list at the first number, Arav. So how will you get it? You will take the suspect and you will pass the 0. So if you take the suspect and pass 0, you will get Arav's name. Similarly, if you want the first evidence, you just need to go to evidence and pass 0, and you will get the first value inside the evidence. So let's say this is done, and after that you just print. So when we do print, right, this is just a string. We can remove it if you want. So this is the first suspect and this is the first evidence. So if you want, we can remove so that just you are not confused. I'll remove this, and we just run this particular code, and we see Arav is my first person, and first I would say evidence is fingerprint. So now we move to the next property, that is changeable property. We know that a Python list is mutable, right? That the values can be changed. How to do that? Let's check that. Inspector Rajesh can update the suspect list as new information is obtained. For example, let's say he gets to know that there is a new suspect. It's not. So let's say initially our list of suspects were Arav, Priya, Rohan and Sneha. Now he realizes that Arav is not the suspect. He wants to change Arav. So what he's doing, he's replacing Arav with Arjun. So first let's look how to do that theoretically here. So what you will do, for example, let us say you have a list. Let's say we have some numbers 20, 25, 30 and 35. Okay, now let us say I want to change my third element. Okay, it's pretty simple. We know that if we want to get the third element, what we will do, we'll do x and we'll pass 2 and it will give us 30. Similarly, if we just want to change it, we just need to do this thing. X of 2 is equal to, let's make this number 50. Okay, once we make this number 50, the list will automatically get updated to x is equal to 20, 25, 50 and 35. So we see that what happened, 30 got changed to 50. This is called mutable. It is very important because we will do a lot of questions in future where you will have to change the structure of that data structure. So in that question there will be you will be in thought, shall I use list or tuple, right? And we know that tuples cannot be used because they cannot be manipulated, so that's why you will need to use list. Now let's come back to our question. It is that, so what we have done, suspect 0, we have replaced it with Arjun. Now if we print suspect, we see that Arav is gone, it's Arjun now. So let's look back this in our case. So for example, let's say we have a list of let's say we have a list x is equal to 20, 25, 30, 35 and 40. Okay, now I want to change the third element, so I want to replace 35 with 50. So what will I do? X, which number, this is 0, 1, 2, 3. So x of 3, now I am changing it, I can change it to anything. So right now I'm making it 50. Now if I print x now, so what, let's see what comes. So I see 50. Okay, by the time I had not, let's say I had not done this. Okay, now if I do a print x now, it will show me 35 in that range, right? But when I change x3 is equal to 50, now if I print x, I see it is 50. So this is called how you change, this is called the changeable property, how you change an element from the list. Now let's come back to, now let's move to the next part. Okay, so our list is modified now. The list of suspects is Arjun, Priya, Rohan and Sneha. Now inspector says that we have to remove some of the elements from the list. So he says that Arav and Meera have solid alibis. Let's remove them from the suspect list. So he's saying that Arav and Meera's, I think there's some confusion in the name here, but so let's say we remove Arjun. Okay, so let's say we remove Arjun here, and the second person that we remove, okay, let's remove Arjun for here for the time being here now. So how do we do it? We have to delete suspect 0. So let's say I know, okay, now I know that Arjun is not the suspect. So what will I do? I'll use this keyword delete suspect 0. It will remove Arjun from the list, and when I print, I will see that it is not there. For example, let's say this is my list. So what is my x right now? Let me check. My x presently is 20, 25, this. I want to remove 20 from this. So what I will do, I will delete x 0. Okay. Now if I print x, so what will happen, that 20 will get removed, and all these will my array size will reduce to like this. Let's try to delete this element 50. So if I delete 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, if I have to remove 3, okay, and now if I print x, so what will be 20, 25, 30 and 40? Answer should be that, but it's not there because it is x3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we need to print the x again, sorry. So let us say this is x. Okay, let me print x again. Okay, and I have changed here. Yeah, I will need to run. So right now my x is this. Now if I have delete x3, so my third part will go. Now let's print this. So we are getting 20, 25, 30 and 40, right? So this element is deleted. this is how we remove an element. We can remove any particular element from the list. We just need to pass it, like we need to use the word delete, the keyword, and we need to pass value like this. So here that's what they have done. Okay, so now after removing Arjun, we have people left as Priya, Rohan and Sneha. Okay, now after this we can remove, there's another method to remove, that is remove keyword. Okay, so what we do, that we select suspects.remove and we provide the name of the list. So for example, let's say I have this list again, x is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, so let me check if it is working. So this is working. Now what I do x dot remove and I just pass the value. For example, I want to remove 20. Okay, now if I remove this and now if I print x, so there's a way to, I have removed 20 from the list, right? So that is how you can add or remove things. So this is what we have done. Now if we see here, so now Priya has been removed from the list and we have only people left, Rohan and Sneha. And next comes the last line, removing items from the end. For example, let us say you just want to remove items from the last value. For example, you just want to remove 40. So then you use pop. There is a thing called pop. Remember, pop is only used when you have to remove the last word. So that to focus on the last aspect, Inspector Rajesh uses pop to remove and retrieve the last item. So what he does, he just pops it. So let's say x is this, and so for example, let's say y is equal to x dot pop, and right now if I print y, so let's see what we are getting. So I have popped, so it has taken out the value 40. Okay, and now if I print x, what will I get? Let me check. I get 10, 20, 30 because 40 has been removed and it has been put into y. So if I just show you print y, so yeah, so 10, 20, 30, 40 has been eliminated and it has been taken to this. So this is how addition on. So now once we remove the last person from the list, that is Sneha, so we have a remaining suspect as Rohan, and we have identified that Rohan is basically our killer, we can say that. So this is how we have performed operations by changing the property. This is called changeable property of list. We can add things, remove things. So there are three methods to remove. One is delete keyword, one is remove, and one is pop. Pop is used to only remove the last element. Through remove, you can pass the value, remove directly, and through delete, you can delete by the index name. So whatever your use case is, you can use that particular thing. And just for the changeable property, if you need to update something, you just provide the index, list name with index, and update the value like this. So this is called the changeable or the removable property of list. So let's move to the next two properties of list, that is combining lists and sorting lists. So let's first talk about combining list. So what is combining list? It means that two lists can be added. So what I mean to say is, let us say there is a list x which is equal to 50, 60, 70. Okay, and there is another list, for example y, which is equal to 80, 90 and 100. If I create a new list, z is equal to x plus y, okay, and then I print, then let's say I print z, what I will get? I will get 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, let's test this out. So to test this, let's create two lists. For example, we have x is equal to 40, 50, 60. Let's say this is a list 1. Okay, and then we have another list y is equal to let's make it 70, 80 and 90. Okay, let's create a new list. Z is equal to X plus Y. And now if I print Z, so if I have to remember, Python is case sensitive, so you have to ensure that your names have been correctly spelled. So if you just print, you see 40, 50, 60, 70, 90. So this is how combination is done. What if there are duplicates? Let's test that out. For example, let's say there is a 60. So we know that in Python there can be duplicates. So what will happen, that 60 will repeat twice. So now if I do this like this, so I see 60 is coming twice. Okay, so it's simple. So you can add list by just using a sign like this. Take two lists or take multiple lists and you just add them. Now let's go back to our workbook. So what we are doing, that Rajesh is saying, let's combine the remaining evidence and clues to see the complete picture. Okay, what he does is that there are some additional clues. So he had some clues earlier and he has got some additional clues during the process of search, and he has got motive note and footprints. So what he has done, clues equal to evidence, our previous list plus the new list, additional clues, and when he adds and when he prints them, he gets something like this. So let's run this out and we see that this is our combined list. It is exactly what we did here. So they have just combined two lists. Okay, now let's move to sorting list. Now is saying that we need to analyze the clues thoroughly. Let's sort them alphabetically for clarity. So there is a sort method in list. I will tell about that. So let me just refresh this. Okay, so for example, let's say again there is a list. X is equal to 10, 12, 19, 15, 28 and 22. Okay, so there is a dot. So remember X, if you remember, list is a class, X is an object. Now if you remember OOPS programming, X and any object will have its method. Okay, so one of the method of object is sort. Okay, sort. So what you do, if you do X dot sort, okay, and so what it will give by default, it will give ascending order. So 10, 12, 15, 19, 22, 28. This will be the order by default. Now what if you want in descending order? So what you will do, X dot sort, in bracket you will write something. You will write reverse is equal to true. Okay, and once you write that, this whole list will be reversed. So it will be like 28, 22, 19, 15, 12 and 10. So this is how sorting is done. Dot sort is the method that is used to sort the list. So let's go to this. Let's say we have a list again. So let's have a list here. X is equal to 10, 20, and let's say we have 50, we have 35, we have 45, we have 90, we have 65. Okay, and then we have 54. So let's say we have this list. So what we will do, we'll do X dot sort. Okay, and then let's print X. So if we see, currently the X is not in sorted. Now after we sort and print, we'll see that X is sorted now. So 10, 20, 35, like this, it is sorted now. Now in sorted, if I just write down reverse is equal to true, so I will get in descending order. So now let's print it. I get in descending order. So this is how sorting is done in lists. Now let's go back to our Python workbook. So he just want to basically, we have some, these all are alphabetically, right? So it will ascend them alphabetically, C, B and something like that. So they have done something like this, depending upon in whatever order you want the sorting to be done. So that's all about combining and the sorting, I would say. So now, so if we move to the conclusion, so far what we have discussed is that uh, we know how to create list, we know how to add elements, we use append. Okay, so we can if we just have to add couple of elements, we can directly use append function as well. So it is you can simply use append function and it will get added. And then we have after that we have removing elements, that is delete, remove, pop. And then we have indexing, and then we have sorting, and then we have combining. So these three things we have done here. So one quick thing, I think I forgot to describe this particular append, how to add elements to an list. So it's very simple. For example, let us say we have a list. Again, let's take this list only, which we created. So let's take this list, x is equal to 10 to. So let's take this list. Okay, now suppose we want to add an element to this. So we know how to replace. For example, let's say I want to replace 20 with 200. What will I do? I'll do x of 1 equal to 200. Okay, and now if I print x, so I will see that it will be 10 200, something like this. But what if I want to add a new element? So there is a method called append. So a method called append. So what we'll do x dot append, and I just need to pass the value that I need to add. For example, let's say I need to add 500. So I'll just append it, and then I will do a print of x. So I will if I run this code, I see 500 is added towards the end. So if I have to add something to the end, I just use the append word. If I have to remove something from the end, I will use pop word. So this is about adding. I actually missed using append. I thought I have taken care of it, but it's fine. So it's a basically simple thing. You just know how to add a thing to your list. So let's come to the last concept, that is list. Although it's last, but it is the most important, because this is something which you will be extensively using in your ML codes or data engineering codes. That is list comprehension. Okay, so let's talk about list comprehension. What is it? List comprehension, it is just a method to create a list. Okay, as simple as that. In the previous case, when we had to create a list, what we used to do, we used to enter things manually. For example, let's say I have to create a list of even numbers. What will I do? 2, 4, 6, something like this I will do. But so here I'm adding things manually, but it does not happen with list comprehension. So what we do in list comprehension, so let's we have 4 things: expression, item, iterable, and condition. So how does the syntax look like? Expression for item in this. So let me explain you this particular thing. When I say that for this is a loop for x in range, and you pass a number. Let someone has written like this. So what it is going to do, this is a kind of loop. So x now will iterate itself. Now x, what will happen? X will iterate itself towards a series of value. And range is a function in Python, basically tells that if you're using 10, so it means that you have to check value from 0 to 9, because again, you know, in Python indexing starts from 0. So x will take various values, 0, 1, 2 up to 9. X will take these many values. Okay, so what list comprehension does, that we use a certain loop like this, and then we provide an expression that what we want to do with x. So for example, let's say I want to return x. So x for x in range this to this. So what it will do, it will return me a list of 0, 1, 2 up to 9. It will create me a list like this. So let's go how a list comprehension is created. Okay, so as I mentioned, for example, let's say we have to print square of numbers. So what are we going to do? So let's say the list name is y. Okay, so what are we going to do? X square for. Okay, so this is my expression, that this is my actionable thing. This part will be my actionable thing, and here it will be a for loop. And because I'm talking about x, so for x in range 10, So what will happen? X will go from 0 to 9. Now if I print Y, you will see what is coming. Okay, so you have got a set of square numbers from 0 to 9. So this was our question, that create a list of squares from 0 to 9, and that's how you will do it. Okay, now comes the next criteria, that how do you put a condition. So for example, we only want for even numbers, so you just need to provide this condition here. In Python, if you have to say what is the so this percentage sign is used for reminder, and there are two equals to in Python. So let me explain you what is the definition of two equals in Python. So so what happens that, for example, let's say when you write down a is equal to 10 in Python, it means that you are assigning a value of 10 to a. Okay, this is what a single equals to mean. But what if there is double equal to 10? This is a condition. It checks if a is equal to 10. Okay, if a is equal to 10, it will return true or it will return a false. So remember this always. This is very important. You will have to use it at many times. Whenever you use a single equal to, it means that you are assigning a value, and double equal to means you are checking a condition. Now similarly, what is a remainder? So for example, let's say a percentage 2. It means if I divide number a by 2, what will be my remainder? Okay, so I know these are some new terms for you. So you have to remember this, right? Equal to percentage means remainder. There is this thing also. So when you use directly one, this is called quotient. Okay, now let's come back to the question. Our question, what was our question that we were solving here? It is saying that create a list of even numbers from 0 to 9. So if you see that, let's what we will do, we will y. So we are going to do that. So what we exactly need to find, we need to find this even numbers. Okay, so we just want to print the number x for x in range. Now we want till from 0 to 9, so we'll place it 10. Now we only want even numbers. So what we will do here, after this, we'll put an if condition. If x percentage of 2, it is equal to 0. So what we are doing, we are check. This is a criteria for even numbers. This is a criteria for even number. Okay, so percentage means remainder. So it is checking if any number, if divided by 2 gives a 0 remainder, it means it is an even number. So that's what we are doing here in this particular code. If you see, so x for x in range this, if x remainder 2 is 0. So that is how you will get only the even numbers. Okay, now let's come to another question, that is list comprehension with string manipulation. So what are we doing here? So let us say we have words here: apple, to, banana, at, and car. We have to convert them into upper. So create a list of words converted to uppercase if the word length is greater than 3. So what are we doing? We are iterating for words in loops, etc. We will study later in the class, in this particular course. Just for the time being, just understand the code. So we are saying for word in words. So what will happen, that word will iterate itself from this, and this. If length of word is greater than 3, okay, so we are putting an if condition, then print word dot upper. So whatever the basically text we had, it got converted to a capital letter. So it's a fairly simple use case. Similarly, we have nested list comprehension as well. you can check that. I mean, so xy for x in range 3 or for y in range this. So you'll print something like this. So you can try this on your own. It's a simple thing when I share the sheet. So this is it. This is it so far about the list comprehension, that defines what each element in the new list will be. Item means represent the variable, iterable, for example, what all value is changing, and condition, which you put in the end as filter. So this is all about list comprehension, I would say. Then now we have two questions, so we'll solve them one by one. So let's solve these two questions, right? I mean, before solving the question, let's give a quick summary what we have read so far. So we have read that lists are created, right? So by user, so you can create simply by specifying, by naming anything, and then you can add something to list by using append function. So how to create a list? Your list is a class. Then your list is a class. Okay, your list is a class, and then you have to create an object that is of list, right? And after that you just like name whatever you want to enter here. Okay, that's how you create a list. Okay, after that, the first operation that we did, it was append. You can add anything. Okay, second we did was slicing, that how to basically get something from it. Yeah, so using accessing, you do indexing, right? So what we do, that we do indexing. If we have to access anything, we use indexing. So how to do index? For example, x0, it will return to me 1. X of 1 will return to me 2. So this is called indexing. Third was removing. So how to delete things? So there is remove keyword, there was delete keyword, and there was pop keyword. Okay, so remove, you give the name, you will remove it. Delete, you provide the index position. Pop, you remove the last element. Okay, and after that we did the combining of the list. So how to basically add list. Then we did sorting of the list. We can sort it, and the last part that we did was list comprehension. So these are the 6 things that we discussed. You should ensure that you know these all things. Okay, now I'll move to the last question. Before that, I'll just like to mention you one concept here in Python, that for example, the range keyword. What range keyword does is, we will talk these about when we start talking about loops. Okay, so if you don't understand completely, that's totally fine. So when we provide range of 10, okay, it means that for example, x in range 10, it means x will iterate from, we have talked earlier as well, 0 to 9. Okay, now if I write down if x in range 2 to 10, so what it will do, x will iterate from 2 to 9. So remember, the last word it never takes. It always takes the number prior to that. So these two things you need to remember. Now let's talk about the question that we have here. Let's go to, okay. Question says, calculate a list of first 5 positive integers raised to power 3 using list comprehension. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to print the first 5 numbers, the cube of first 3 numbers. Okay, so using list comprehension. So what we do in list comprehension, the structure is something, so we perform an operation, okay, for x in, there is some range that we provide. Okay, so for example, let's say we want to print 1 to 5 number. So what we can do, we can provide that for x in range, we can either give it 6, but we have to print from 1 to 5. So we need to give the first number, that is, it has to be 1. Okay, and last part has to be 6. Okay, through this way we are iterating from 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, and what do we want to do here? We want to do x raised to power 3. So in Python, when you have to do a power, you multiply, you do put 2 star and you do like this, and then you create a list like this, and let's say you do, and now you print y. So it will give you the result. So let's go back to the question. So if you see what you have done, x into 3, so it means x raised to the power 3 for x in range 1 to 6, and print cubes. So if you run this particular code, you will get the values. Second question I am skipping right now because it requires understanding of loops. So we will do that once we have completed the loops. Okay, so this was the overall structure about I will say list. We have covered extensively. Nothing more than this will be asked to you in an interview. Okay, so if you understand these properties of list, these methods that I just told you, you are all set for list completely to tackle any problem. So when we start solving data structure and algorithm questions, you will be able to understand more in detail. Okay, so really thanks for having the patience to watch this video. Now please complete the assignment question that we will post today. And the second question, please remember, we will solve it once we start loops. I'm not taking it right now because it requires for loop and while loop, and I don't want to like give too much to you guys right now. So again, really thanks a lot for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and be regular in these classes. If you don't understand anything, please comment below on the comments or section, or just text on the WhatsApp group, or you can just reach out to me on DM as well. So again, thanks a lot. Have a good day.